Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the Fasting Transformation Summit, where we are uncovering the most ancient, inexpensive, and powerful healing strategy known to mankind. We're talking about fasting. And I'm your host, Dr. David Jockers, and really excited to have my good friend, my buddy, Dr. Eric Zielinski on today. He is an expert when it comes to essential oils, just all around superstar guy, has four beautiful children, great wife, Sabrina. And, he's a best-selling author as well of Healing with Essential Oils. Is that correct,
The
Dr. Eric?
healing power of
Healing
essential
Power
oils.
of Essential Oils. That's right.
Yep.
So fantastic book. Essential oils are a huge topic and they can be extremely helpful when it comes to fasting. So we'll talk more about that. And you can check out his website as well, Natural Living Family, right? That's correct, naturallivingfamily.com. And we'll talk more about that at the end, but fantastic website as well for non-branded essential oil education, as well as biblical education as well. And so, Dr. Eric, thanks so much for joining us on the Fasting Transformation Summit.
Well, it's an honor, Doc, and it's kind of full circle. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I mean, truthfully, when we met 10 and a half years ago and you encouraged me to become a chiropractor, that really planted a seed in my life that has manifested to where we are today. And I've implemented intermittent fasting, and you've influenced me in a lot of ways, and as a friend, as a health mentor in so many areas. So it's great that we can come here and chat about this.
Absolutely. And, we do go way back. And so I knew you before you got into the health field,
Yeah.
but you were already kind of in the health field at that time because you were practicing a lot of these principles.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd love for you to share your story and really how you got turned on to natural health.
I mean, when I met you, we were actually on vacation. My wife and I went down to Atlanta every year to spend some time with my mentor, who is your mentor, Enoch, 76 years young, not on any medications, can still run circles around all of us. But at that time, I was fasting every Monday. That was something that I just did as a spiritual exercise. I would normally do two, three, 4, 5, sometimes day plus water fasts, depending on, where I was in my life, detoxing, seeking out God's will. But that was just it. I did my best, right? And I was in the finance industry. And when we met, and I remember going to one of your health talks, I was like, wow, there is more than just isolated chiropractic, isolated nutrition, isolated supplements. Like, you brought it all together. And as we just literally packed up 3 months after meeting you, 3 months after our trip to Georgia, Mama Z and I, with our little baby girl, Esther, at the time, we packed up, quit my job, moved down to Atlanta to study chiropractic, and fast forward, here we are. Well, how did I go from chiropractic, fasting, knowing a little bit more, about nutrition, supplements, to now being the essential oil guy? You know what? God just had a different plan for me. And one of my clients commissioned me to write a series of public health reports on essential oils, and that started my journey. So 5 years ago, to the day, actually, when this is launching, 5 years ago, is May 2015, my Essential Oils Revolution Summit came out, 160,000 plus people. And here we are. And I'm just blessed and fortunate to be able to share this information with everyone.
Well, that's awesome. And obviously you did a lot of work with research and public health when you were going through school.
Yeah.
And, you came across essential oils and you started writing about them. And what did you discover about essential oils? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, they were the missing link for me. You see, like you, I mean, you didn't use essential oils early on in your healing story, did you?
It was kind of on and off. I just didn't know much about them. People had
Me too.
introduced them. When you're in a natural health world,
I know.
essential oils they're around, right? Yeah.
They keep on coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
When I got radically born again, saved, I met Christ in 2003. I had depression, I had suicidal thoughts, chronic pain, cystic acne, gut issues. Enoch really mentored me to use nutrition and fasting and prayer and some minor supplementation to really bring healing in my life. And, a little bit of aromatherapy and like my body care products. But what really got me was my medicine cabinet. I didn't have anything for those issues. Like, I remember getting athlete's foot one year. And I was like, where did this come from? And I went online and I was like, okay, what can I get? And I couldn't figure out, no herbal remedy worked for me. Nutrition didn't heal athlete's foot, right? A bruise, an abrasion, an infection, something like that. And so I recognized there was a hole in my life. And that was like, what happens if, right? When Esther got her first 104 temperature, I saw what Sabrina did. It blew my mind. She got peppermint and orange essential oil, diluted it with some coconut oil, and she was a baby, like a year old, and massaged her back with those oils, and her 104 temperature literally went away within minutes. And so I saw that because, as you know, most people would freak out, take their kid to the urgent care. They would do God knows what with them, probably put them on an antibiotic. If at 104, they might even do some kind of intravenous intervention, hydrate them, whatever they would do. We didn't do any of that. And so that really opened up my mind, like, okay, I need this. But it was more than that. Like, okay, now that I started using essential oils and filling it up for our medicine cabinet, I was like, what other areas can essential oils enhance my life? And just piece by piece by piece, it's been a wonderful journey. Everything from my body care to our cleaning products to, of course, our medicine, but how we enhance
Mhm.
our food. Other things like what we're going to talk about today, how to really cap into and tap into the cravings and the
Yeah.
leptin and the ghrelin, and how to
Yeah.
tap into your addiction cascade, like how to free yourself, mood boosting. It's like
Mhm.
the sky's the limit. But here's something everyone needs to know about essential oils is there's nothing foo-foo about this. I mean, when this is the question and the concern that I get from people is like, it's not studied, it's not evaluated. First, that is 100% wrong. And we know more and more and more studies are not only being done, but thousands have been conducted. Yes, and this is true. A majority of them are in vitro, cells in a petri dish, but we have loads and hundreds, literally hundreds, if not thousands at this point, of animal trials and human trials. So in the scientific community, and this is very pertinent because Gwyneth Paltrow, I mean, this is hot news right now, and I know this is going to air at different times when people watch this. But have you heard of her new Netflix documentary series, Goop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
have.
cr
Yep.
it's like she's being, like, witch hunted, she's being
Mm.
crucified for what happened, and the thing about it is you look at the scathing rebukes about what happened with Gwyneth Paltrow and the alternative therapies that she's promoting. Well, because Gwyneth Paltrow has promoted that depression can be remedied by essential oils, you'll see essential oils being bastardized in
Mm.
these New York. I just read it, New York Times. I'm just read,
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal. So essential oils are being clumped as pseudomedicine
Mm.
still, and it's 2020. It doesn't make sense to me. So what people need to realize is that the chemical structures that chemists, that pharmacists create for their drugs are not invented in a vacuum. It's not like Dr. So-and-so has a dream and a vision and be like, okay, let's combine this carbon and that nitrogen together and let's create this drug. No, the chemical structures that they're basing their pharmaceuticals that you and me, everyone have been, they're trying to push down our throats are based off of the chemicals in plants. Best example is aspirin. So
Yeah.
willow tree has methyl
Mhm.
salicylate, has a very powerful anti pain relieving analgesic property. And so when you extract that and when you manufacture it synthetically, put a white shiny pill on it, it's called aspirin. And we see that with chemotherapy drugs, blood pressure medications, everything. So the reality is, I'm proposing to people that we go to nature first instead of going to pharmacy first. And
Mhm.
then thank God for doctors for emergency
Yeah.
situation. But that kind of puts everything full circle because before the advent of the antibiotic and aspirin and drugs, people were using essential oils and essential oil based products forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard essential oils being called the blood of the plant, right? Kind
Yeah.
of the life-giving force of the plant. And so, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, there's actually a verse in the Bible, Revelation 22:2, that says the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nation.
Mm.
I can think of no better no better substance on the planet that epitomizes that than the essential oil. I mean, the essential oil is what God gave the plant to heal the plant, to ward off vectors. They're
Yeah.
antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. They're rich in antioxidants. See, essential oils are actually bioactive compounds,
Mm.
very much similar to polyphenols and carotenoids, and they're just rich in antioxidants and healing properties. And so you call it the lifeblood of the plant, but it was
Yeah.
really the self-healing mechanism that God gave the plant because plants don't have
Yeah.
an immune system. You could actually look at essential oils as the immune system,
Mm.
the protection for the plant. And when you steam distill this plant material, and it's a lot of plant material, y'all, and I think we need to remember that essential oils need to be used carefully. Like, you're not going to go to your pharmacy and get a bottle of aspirin, just take a handful because you want to. You're going to hopefully read the instructions and dosing first. Essential oils are very concentrated, and our bodies really have not been designed by God to interact with them in its pure, unadulterated form. You got to dilute
Yeah.
them because it takes about roughly 3 to 5 pounds. Like, think about how heavy that is.
Yeah.
3 to 5 pounds of lavender flowers to get one itty bitty bottle of lavender. That's a
Hmm.
lot of plant matter. And with that said, though, they're natural insofar as they're extracted from plants, but they're very man-made. I mean,
Hmm.
going back to lavender, and you've been to our home, Doc, you're not going to go see in Sabrina's herb garden a pool of essential oils. You
Right.
know, it doesn't
Right.
exist in nature.
Yep.
You have to steam distill them or cold press them or extract them with CO2. So anyway, they're very potent. They're very useful. And if you're trying to tap into what we're going to talk about, fasting and feasting and curbing hunger and balancing blood pressure, do it carefully and really follow the advice you're going to get today, because it'll be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Really important notes there. So, when people start fasting, whether it's intermittent fasting and just restricting their feeding window, or if they're trying an extended fast, sometimes they experience things like cravings, right? That's a common one. Another one would be anxiety and trouble sleeping. Let's talk about some oils that can help with those things.
Yeah, and I'm curious if you can even explain too,
Yeah.
in your opinion, the cravings. Is it we're talking typically sugar?
Well, not necessarily sugar, really
Okay.
just to eat. Sometimes sugar can absolutely be an issue, but really just the desire to eat, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, sugar or just a desire to eat. Starch oftentimes can be another craving. Yep.
Okay. Let's hit the sugar thing, and then we can even talk about just being hungry in general, because
Yeah.
essential oils can help you feel satiated or feel
Yeah.
full. But when it comes to the craving, oftentimes, at least when I've fasted, next thing you know, in middle of the night, or if I'm watching a movie with my wife, I'm craving like cereal or something like super high carb. If you have a sweet tooth, and if that's something that you've struggled with in your life, you can use essential oils to balance your blood sugar. And that's something that we have actually seen lower blood sugar. Oils like cinnamon bark are extremely effective. And it just takes a couple drops, like 1 or 2 drops in a gel capsule with some olive oil that you can consume once a day. I love my matcha green tea latte, and I love putting a drop of cinnamon in there. I love putting a drop of peppermint in there. Peppermint has this uncanny ability to make you feel full. It helps you feel satiated. It actually increases your VO2 max and gives you more respiratory support, and it gives you more energy. Essential oils like citrus essential oils can actually help you increase your mood. And a lot of people don't realize that maybe they're craving food is
Yeah.
because their mood might be down. And so again, it all goes down to like the why. Is it the sugar? Is it the moon? Is it just because you're hungry? I mean, there's only so much you could do when you're hungry. Drink a little more water,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's important. But the reality is, if you can kind of dial in to the why, and a lot of folks comfort eat, a lot of folks eat as an automatic response to a stress. And I'm telling you, when you fast, and I've seen this time and time again, especially when you fast for spiritual things, like the Bible is really clear. If you want to tug on God's heartstrings, for example, you fast. Like, there's a verse that says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their sin, God says, I'll hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land.
Mm.
Like, how more effective of a strategy
Yeah.
than fasting is there to humble yourself? There's something about feeling ultimately human
Yeah.
and weak, and getting to the point where you really come to the end of yourself. And ultimately, if someone is doing a spiritual fast, putting things together in their life to help them move forward so they don't feel like they need to break it is very important. And so there's definitely that spiritual component, because to me, that helps drive through a lot of the cravings, a lot of the hunger. It's like, I'm giving this to God. Like, a lot of churches at the beginning of the year do what's called like Daniel fast, right? It's like
Mhm.
3 weeks, they'll juice, or they'll
Yeah.
whatever, they'll go on a diet, or some people, will do a water fast a couple times a week. To me, that's really the secret. And then if you're doing a fast, and if you're intermittent fasting, if you really find yourself struggling, I'm encouraging people to flip the switch in a sense.
Yeah.
Don't make it all about the physical, because I
Mhm.
think there's a point where you're going to find an end to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point of surrender. That's the point where like, God, I'm really craving this, or I really want something, like, help me. You're not going to die if you don't eat for a day, but you'll feel
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
3 days, that's fine. But the thing is, I want to encourage everyone, myself included, to kind of look at like, okay, what are those things and why? And if it is an emotional thing, if it's you being triggered by stress or anxiety, then that's where some essential oils, again, going back to the citrus oils, can really help and help you get into a better frame of mind. We call it hangry. People get angry when they're hungry. Like, that's not a good thing. That's not natural. You shouldn't really be hangry. That's a trigger in your life that, why? But what if you could use some essential oils and diffuse some of the citrus, like orange, lime, lemon, bergamot? Some people dealing with anxiety or panic. And the reason I mention this is because if you're going to be fasting for spiritual purposes, I'll pretty much guarantee you the devil's going to come at you
Mm.
in a way that's going to try to derail you. I've seen this time and time again, right before your breakthrough, right before, like, God said, I will heal your land. What land are you looking to be healed for? And
Mm.
and I know we're talking about the fasting summit here, and this is about transforming your life. And so what does that look like? You know, what does your marriage look like? What are your finances? What is your career? What does your health look like? Like, is it that you're looking for God to heal you? And I know the enemy of our souls doesn't want us to experience those things. And so invariably, every time I fast, every time I do something, something will happen. There'll be an excuse where, there'll be like a blowout between me and Sabrina, or someone will get upset, or something happens to the kids, or something happens at work, or something, whatever. There's all these distractions, but having something that grounds you. And see, that's what essential oils do. Unlike anything else, because of the trigger of the olfactory system,
Mm.
it's the only system in your body that directly affects your limbic system, your brain, your memory, your mood, your emotions. So if you could get yourself to a place where you can center, be grounded, and whatever the oil is, we can kind of go through a couple different ones. But again, the citrus oils are ones we always start with, because those are proven antidepressants, anti-anxiety solutions. But it could be something else. It could be different kind of agitation. It could be PTSD. It could be a lot of things that are triggering. But having that grounding moment, and that's where folks sometimes go to frankincense, they go to myrrh, they go to cedarwood, they go to Buddha wood, they go to sandalwood. Again, notice the woods, the resins, the really earthy tone type of essential oils help clear away distractions. Even vetiver has been shown to help children with ADHD and ADD perform better at school. Like, imagine you can kind of clear some of the distractions to just get back to planet Earth for a minute, and then breathe and think and pray and meditate. See, these are the things, and this is where, I don't want to say the magic happens, but it's kind of where everything just comes together. And having something at your disposal you can go to in a jiffy, it's so key. And it really takes some practice. It takes some trial and error. One thing, if you do like citrus oils like myself, a blend that you might want to consider would be lime and bergamot.
Mm.
Both have been shown to show and help people with panic attacks and anxiety and stress, but both are mood lifting. And believe it or not, both and all citrus oils help trigger the body um, to burn fat, known
Yeah.
as lipolysis. Just by inhaling essential oils, your body starts to trigger. Like, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason where in your brain, your body gets to the point where, with the proper hormones being released, the dopamine and the serotonin, the body's like, okay, we can burn some fat here. We're not in this fight or flight mode. It's like we can start to rest and digest, getting you in that parasympathetic mindset. Those oils might help. So just equal blends. A couple drops of bergamot, couple drops of lime in your diffuser. Same thing, equal portions in an aromatherapy inhaler. You can make a body oil, like whatever it is. I would say start with that. There's so many
I think that's
different things.
great. And citrus and bergamot actually also help the autophagy process, the
Mhm.
self-eating process, right? So they actually enhance that too. And you're right. So many people, eating is, in a sense, it's like it's a drug. We get a natural serotonin dopamine hit that makes us feel good. And this is important. This is one of the drivers for why we do eat, for that emotional high that we get. And when we take food away, we no longer get that bump. And oftentimes our body's craving it, and we can really get locked in on this idea that, hey, we need that bump, right? Because those neurotransmitters go down. So by doing something like diffusing citrus, lime, orange, things like that, we can get, not quite the same spike that we're going to get when we eat, but we're going to get a little bit of a lift. And just that little bit of a lift, along with, recentering your mind, your spirit, can help you get through those challenging times. And we know with fasting, it comes in waves.
Yep.
Hunger, cravings, they come in waves. I always tell people it's kind of like anybody that's looking to quit smoking. You take it 5 minutes at a time, right? It's like if you can win the next 5 minutes, you're gonna be okay, right? And so just take it 5 minutes at a time, and you get through those hunger pangs, the cravings, and things like that. And using essential oils can be really helpful.
I would recommend if you're doing a true water fast, you wouldn't want to ingest, and I don't even know what you would recommend, Doc. When you're saying water fast, are we talking nothing orally, no supplementation? Are we literally water, or are you incorporating?
Yeah, try not to be dogmatic about it. Some of the experts do recommend only water.
Okay.
I'm okay with water and salt for the electrolytes, replacing those. And I'm okay with adding some apple cider vinegar or lemon lime.
Okay.
With a water fast, I try to do it with 0 calories.
Okay.
Right? With apple cider vinegar, with lemon lime, you basically have 0 calories when you're consuming that. So those are fine. Diffusing essential oils, because again, like you said, inhaling them, you're not obviously consuming calories, but you're getting tremendous benefits. A lot of research out there about the benefits of aromatherapy, taking in those, just breathing them in. And so I think that's extremely helpful. Did you have something to add to that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So with that, then you could easily add a drop of orange, a drop of lemon in your apple cider vinegar. Because again, there's no calories with essential oils. You probably would want to, under that guidance, you probably would want to stay away from a veggie cap, which would, vegan, vegetarian cap, because you have to put a little bit of coconut oil or something in there as a carrier. But I would
But you can do that when you do eat. So
yes.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. And I would definitely recommend topical application, because topical application is arguably even more effective than internal ingestion to get the essential oils systemically in your body. So the key area, and this is interesting because folks don't get that a lot of the information online, especially Pinterest and blogs, are just flat out wrong. And that's one of the reasons why I hosted my first summit, is because I wanted to talk to the experts to get to the truth, because I realized a lot of things didn't make sense. And when you look at permeability studies, the areas of the body where chemicals, plant-based chemicals specifically, can penetrate the easiest, the feet are the worst part of the body if you want to get a systemic effect. So you don't ever see someone put a nicotine patch on their foot. Like there's a reason for that, right? So if you want to,
that's always been the advice: rub it on the bottoms of your feet.
And yes, exactly. And there's absolutely zero research to substantiate that.
Yeah.
Now, reflexology is wonderful, right? That's something that you could use. But again, here's the thing I want to clarify. It's not a bad thing to put essential oils and rub your feet with them. Like, it's very soothing, it's comforting.
This may not be the best.
It's not the most effective to get the plant-based chemicals in your bloodstream. So from top to bottom, the most permeable parts of your body, if you kind of think of it's almost common sense, are the most sensitive, right? Your oral cavity, the anus, the underarms, the vagina. I mean, these are the most sensitive parts of your body, typically the areas where you're not going to be pouring a lot of essential oil. So you want to be careful. Yeah. And next would be the trunk, where you have the abdomen. You have the chest. Like, that's actually quite permeable, and it makes sense because there's a lot of vascularity here, and there is a lot of, these oils typically, or this part of the body typically isn't exposed to sun or a lot of chemicals. It's protected. It's a very protected part of the body. And then you go to the arms and the hands and the feet are the worst parts when it comes to permeability. So why am I saying that? This is a 2-for-1 approach for all of us who are trying to tap into these, the limbic system, and to really capitalize on fat burning, hunger craving suppression, is apply oils diluted over your abdomen, because we see within 5 minutes, literally within 5 minutes, studies have shown that the chemicals in the essential oils can be detected in the bloodstream. But here's the key though, within an hour and a half to 2 hours, completely undetectable, which means the body metabolized them. And so you're not going to find that with a drug. You're not going to find that with any sort of pharmaceutical intervention the body can completely metabolize. But what that also means, sure, it's safe, but you have to reapply. at least 2, 3, 4 times a day if this is a strategy that you want to do. And if you're fasting for a week or doing daily, whatever, intermittent fasting, you want to up your topical application with essential oils. But here's the 2-for-1 approach. Now you become a walking diffuser.
Yeah,
Everywhere you
just
go.
smelling it.
It,
Yeah.
yeah, because what happens is the essential oils really, I should have said this earlier, but they're volatile organic compounds,
Mhm.
meaning they're the compounds in the plant that readily evaporate. They're the ones that go through the steam distillation process. When steam breaks up the
Mhm.
chemicals in the plant matter, everything that evaporates go through the condensing tube. Anything that's too heavy goes behind, stays behind. It's in the hydrosols. It doesn't, it's all about molecular weight. So when you apply an essential oil, test it. Put an essential oil on the other side of the room, just drop it on the floor. You'll smell it within seconds. The
Mhm.
particles are floating in the air. So when you put essential oils on your body, you inhale them. So
Yeah.
you get that 2-for-1 approach, but always dilute,
Yeah.
because studies have also shown that dilution, whether it's olive oil or jojoba or sweet almond, whatever, it actually helps open up the pores, prevents evaporation. That's the key, because it actually acts as like a barrier, so you don't have as much off gassing, and it just is much more effective and safe because you won't burn yourself. Or there's something known as contact dermatitis, which is sensitization. Like, people have actually caused themselves to be allergic because the concentration of essential oils are just too much for the body to handle.
Yeah, it's kind of like the deodorant I use. I make a natural deodorant. I just take, some sort of essential oil like orange or something like that
Hmm.
with coconut oil, and boom, go under the arms,
Yeah.
and it's good to go, right? So homemade.
Antifungal.
That's right.
So
Yep.
many benefits to it.
Yep. So really good. Let's talk a little bit about anxiety
Yeah.
and trouble sleeping, because those are other issues. When we fast, especially doing more of an extended fast, we elevate cortisol.
Hmm.
Okay. And which isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, for some individuals, they have trouble sleeping, and they may have a little bit more anxiety as their body gets more fat adapted and good at burning fat for fuel.
Okay.
So, what are some oils that can help with that?
Yeah, so many. Here's what I want to encourage someone to do, really, is to think about, like, you practice functional medicine.
Mhm.
The word's practice, right? It's not like you have a solution for everyone and
Right.
you're good at what you do, and
Yep.
everyone has a customized protocol. So the one thing I want to impress upon people is, and I keep on discovering new things. My body changes. What used to work yesterday is not working today because I'm a different person. My biochemistry changes based off of my thoughts, my environment, and my food. So there are a number of essential oils that can help. But the thing is that you need to take a little time to practice to find out what works for you. Okay. And it's encouraging. It's fun. It's a little bit of work. It might cost you an extra dollar. But once you figure out the solution, it's like reaching the Holy Grail. So the litany of essential oils that can help with sleep uh, is profound. I mean, we go start with lavender. Everyone always thinks of lavender. Most people think of Roman chamomile. There's vetiver. There's valerian root. There's Vitex. Most people haven't heard of that, but that's a very healthy, strong women's health oil
Yeah.
that can
Tastes
help.
good.
Yeah, Vitex is wonderful. We have rose, geranium, clary sage. A lot of different oils. Again, going back to the myrrhs and frankincense, anything that could help stop wayward thoughts. The thing about it is, what's causing the sleep disturbance? Is it anxiety? Is it your mind just can't stop? Is it focus? Is it some sort of, if it literally hunger pangs? So if you can kind of drill down even too, to like, I'm really just, I'm really just stressed out. I just can't
Mhm.
stop. I maybe try a citrus oil. So that's where blending, maybe try an orange with a lavender and a frankincense. See how that goes. Again, most people don't talk about frankincense and orange to help you sleep, but if that's what's going to help you relax, if that's what's going to help stop the root cause, then yes, you'll sleep a lot better. I mean, if it's straight up hunger pain, let's say if it's addiction, because this is something extremely potent. Most people, and I would venture to say most people are addicted to sugar, not listening or watching, because these are the health crusaders of the world. So I appreciate everyone watching. You're so far ahead of 99.9% of the planet just because you're watching this right now. Good for you. Praise God for that. Most of our friends and family members are addicted to sugar.
Mhm.
So if you want to help suppress that and actually help reverse the addiction cascade or even satisfy it, then that's where black pepper comes into play. Proven, shown to help stop the addiction cascade. We've helped so many people get off of nicotine and drugs and alcohol by using black pepper. And so a blend that we like is equal parts of black pepper, cinnamon bark, and grapefruit. And you mix it together and you could diffuse it. You can ingest it, but again, we're careful about ingesting oils here while you're fasting. You could apply it topically over your abdomen. But here's a trick, and this is something that I think most people are going to really get a lot out of for this summit, especially, is the oral fixation related to eating. It's really hard to stop. We're used to chewing. We're used to eating. We're used to that oral fixation.
Mhm.
So we came up with a recipe called a quit stick. And a lot of folks recommend this and seen that it really helps, where you get a toothpick. You can get a wooden, not plastic, and you have something that will be absorbable. Get a non-toxic, healthy wooden toothpick. And what you'll do is you get a little shot glass or a 2-ounce glass. You fill it half up with olive oil. And then you get, I forget the recipe off the top of my head, the exact, it's in my book, The Essential Oils Diet. I would start with 10 drops each of black pepper, cinnamon, bark, grapefruit, and peppermint. And you just mix that up and you put 50 to 100 toothpicks in there overnight. You let the toothpicks suck up, absorb the essential oil in. Take the toothpicks out the day after, let them dry. And when you get that hankering for something, when you get that feeling you want to chew on something, put it in your mouth. Absolutely zero calories. Because one concern I have too, a lot of the gums out there, the xylitol, that could really disturb people who have sensitive digestive systems. You want to even stay away from a lot of that when you're fasting. But this is a great way, can help freshen your breath, helps with the addiction issue, gives you that oral fixation, and you can start chewing on it. And that can help a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And you might find when you're really craving that sugar, that cookie, that cereal, like I have when I fast in the middle of the night, put that in your mouth and just suck on it
Yeah.
and watch what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. It also could be a good strategy before a meal, right? So actually just putting that in actually can help start up some of the digestive juices before your meal. I know I like to take fennel seed or
Yep.
rosemary or something like that and just pop it right in my mouth and chew on that to kind of get the digestive system starting to work, those carminatives there. So I
Well,
think that's great.
diffuse those. Actually, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Another strategy that we talk about in our last book is diffusing these essential
Mm,
oils a half an hour before your
yeah.
meal.
Right. Right.
Yeah, especially if you're eating, right? You're doing your fast and your
Yep.
famine, your intermittent fasting. That way you're going to eat less
Yep.
and you'll be more self-conscious
Yep.
of the amount of food that you're eating, because the
You're going to
problem is,
digest it better too.
yeah, and you can add fennel. I love the fact that you added fennel. Fennel is so sweet.
Yeah.
Fennel oil is wonderful. It has very nice aroma to it, but it has a very pleasant flavor as well. And
Hmm.
you can even, and David, because you've been over our home so many times,
Yeah.
put essential oils in your food to help
Mhm.
that enhance, like a little bit of black pepper in your soup, bone broth, whatever it is, like that will actually help too. Like there are a lot of little ways that you could get essential oils into your life, into your body.
Yeah.
And so we want to incorporate that as well.
Yeah, that's great. And definitely using those, especially when you are fasting,
Yeah.
whether it's intermittent fasting or if you're doing an extended fast and you're coming off of the fast, breaking your fast, especially if you're doing extended fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Once you fast for more than 2 days, your digestive juices shut down.
Yep.
So you need to reawaken them. That's why when you break your fast, you're doing it with things like broth and well steamed vegetables and fermented vegetables and green juices and things like that. But using some of those oils can really wake up the digestive system as well.
Mm-hmm.
So putting them in the food, like he was talking about, diffusing them before the meals, all those things are really helpful. And when you're intermittent fasting, some people will notice that there's a little adaptation that has to take place because the body will start to reduce the amount of digestive juices it's producing when you tighten your eating window in the beginning, just because it's trying to conserve energy and utilize that energy for healing and repair. So it's actually doing a good thing for you. So if you rush into a meal and you are eating quickly on the go and you haven't really prepared your digestive system, you may have more digestive symptoms. So using some of these sorts of essential oil strategies can be really helpful for mitigating that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so this has been a great interview, Eric. Any final words of inspiration for our audience?
Well, thanks for having me. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. I want to challenge everyone to follow along when it comes to your fast, to see it through and to make it a spiritual exercise. That's what changed my life.
Mm,
Because when you submit a fast, even if it's intermittent fasting, if you do a water fast, even if it's fasting from just sweets for a month, a week, the rest of your life, hopefully, um, if you take yourself out of the picture, if you take the vanity of looking good, maybe even feeling good out of the picture, you'll never be tempted to fail. You'll never be tempted to cheat. And if you live a fasted lifestyle, and if you really make it a spiritual exercise where this is for God, that puts you at a position where there is no temptation now. And when I did this well over a decade ago, I was really convicted by the Lord to live this way. And you know how we live. I mean,
yeah,
we don't indulge. We don't have cheat days. There is no cheat days. Like, there are healthy versions of things that we consume, but I haven't had a Oreo cookie or a Coca-Cola in 17 years. It's just my lifestyle. And why? Because I have a fasted lifestyle. So I want to encourage everyone to have a fasted lifestyle. So your body is so much more prepared, your mind, your soul, your spirit. So when you do something like Dr. Jockers is recommending, more of a vigorous fast, your body is so much more readily capable to go through. But the key is to hold yourself accountable, because your bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit. I believe it with all my heart, and God will help you and see you through. And when you look at him and be like, Lord, I'm doing this for you. I'm not doing this to fit my bikini or wedding dress. I'm doing this for you. Something triggers in your brain. And there's like this supernatural power that will get you through when you really want to eat or when you're really tempted. It's like, you got this. And to me, that's my secret to fasting.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's so powerful. Absolutely. You got to dig into a higher power. And, fasting is one of the greatest ways to deny yourself, deny your physical body, and tune into, what God's telling you to do, and tune into your intuition and the leading of the Holy Spirit. So
Mhm.
powerful. Thanks again, Dr. Eric, for being on. You can check him out, Dr. Eric Zielinski, naturallivingfamily.com. He's got a couple best-selling books, The Essential Oils Diet and The Healing Power of Essential Oils. So check those out so you get more information on how to use these essential oils. Thanks again, Eric. And for all the listeners out there, I want to remind you that fasting has the ability to unlock your dormant healing potential. It's safe, it's powerful, and it just might transform your life. So take this information, start putting it into action, and I know you're going to see incredible life transforming healing results. So we'll see you on a future interview. Be blessed.